Hello everyone, checking back in on the crypto space, and if you haven't checked out the webinar from over the weekend, that's on the YouTube channel as well. So I'm going to focus on Ethereum, that's where all the action is at. Then we'll look at Bitcoin, Litecoin, going to briefly look at Gollum, and then I'll go over some trades that I've been doing at the end of the day, just a little bit of trade review at the end of this video, as I've been trading like a madman the past 2 days. So Ethereum is strong. We hit new all-time highs. So let's start with the daily and zoom out and see an overall picture of things. I've been saying that I anticipate an equilibrium pattern to form where we set our low, a lower high, higher low, and see things even out. Way more often than not, that is what happens. That is the most likely scenario after a move like this, and it didn't happen with Ethereum. We saw extreme bull strength and follow through to a new all-time high. Now, some of the motivation behind that, even though that Chinese, and I don't even have the name off the top of my head, but the Chinese market opening up, it definitely drew in some hype, and it led to new all-time highs last night, and we saw buying pressure anticipating that into midnight Eastern time. It didn't really have any impact, and we saw another little mini sell the news event, and we'll go over that on the shorter term timeframes at the end during the trade review. But what we have here is a very significant development by hitting higher highs. If you've been watching the videos, we could tell very clearly on the first day of this bounce that the ETH bounce was stronger than Bitcoin. That was known day one, and we saw it little signs time after time for the days that followed that on the bounce playing out. So we now have our low established, our higher low. If we consolidate here, which I do believe we are about to after 3 big bull days in a row, keep in mind we just went 100% again in just a few days. We're going to pull back, in my opinion. We're going to watch $200 support as our first major level, and after that I'm going to be looking down at 185. We will anticipate forming a higher low, obviously, compared to 115, and keeping this uptrend intact. But anytime you see a 100% move in a week or less than a week, consolidation is not far around the corner, and it's normal, healthy in consolidation, but it's very significant, and it allows opportunity to reload. So where we currently stand was just in a trade here where I was looking for a new all-time high, and I got in the trade right here at in the 231s, and it's just an example. I didn't like the way that the chart was playing out. I exited break even, and I said, okay, if we get bull momentum, I'll get in a little bit late. I'll leave a little bit on the table, but I'll make sure the bull momentum is at my back when I enter the trade. I exited. I went all cash. The dump happened, and I was just able to flip it here on this oversold bounce because I had that cash ready to go. So I bought in. I started scaling in down here in the 224s and 225s, and I exited up in the 227s, 228s. So a nice little quick flip where I was able to get some solid profit where otherwise I would have been eating a loss and stuck in my trade if I wasn't quick to cut loose when I didn't see signs of things that I wanted to see. Bitcoin on the hourly time frame, not much trading opportunity, and of course as I record this, man, I tell you, just wait till I record a video and there's a trade opportunity just waiting to happen. Bitcoin is making a key break in the short term, but we still have resistances here. A major break will occur at 2358. Get over that level, 2358, and we will see some decent moves to the upside. We've been trading in a range for almost 2 days, pretty tight comparatively, not a lot of action. Watch the correlation now with everybody getting into ETH. In my opinion, this is stagnant because of all that ETH hype. Watch profit taking in ETH, watch money come into Bitcoin. You have to imagine the psychology of what's going on. We saw a direct correlation between these two, linked very closely together for quite some time. That shifted on this bounce the past few days, and now we're seeing it shift again. Let's see if ETH continues to pull back and if Bitcoin sees some money come in. So it's all about that resistance of 2358 from here. And a nice big bull volume candlestick. That's the highest bull volume hour that we have seen in a couple dozen hours. Daily time frame for Bitcoin can still be this equilibrium pattern. And we have our high, low. We'll look to form a lower high. And right now our lower high is that level I just pointed out. So if we break that level, there's not a ton of resistances back up towards the all-time high. They are certainly there, but you can see the resistance has been established the past 4 days with the inability to see continuation and just the sideways trading. It's healthy sideways trading. It's consolidation. And let's now see if the bulls show up with Ethereum weakness to the downside. Litecoin, also not seeing a lot of trading opportunity, but same thing. Look at the volume coming in. So let's see now if the play is volume coming out of ETH and volume coming into these laggards. Same sideways trading on Litecoin here. Resistance is going to be up at 2672 and 2695. So these are all new correlations, and they have shifted. They shift every day, and it's important to stay on top of that to know what to be looking for. So now that we knew Bitcoin 3 days ago, or that Ethereum was stronger than Bitcoin on the bounce, now we're seeing a potential money trickling over effect. So the daily time frame, again, Litecoin is the weakest. I personally am not going to trade Litecoin anymore. There's too much opportunity elsewhere, and it is currently in a downtrend of lower highs and lower lows over the past month. So keep that in mind. The all-time high, low of the pullback, lower high, and we did break to a lower low. So that is currently the trend on LTC, but look at this sideways action, just like Bitcoin. So we can see that Litecoin and Bitcoin the past 4 days are linked together, and that resistance of 26.95 breaking, I bet Bitcoin and Litecoin break the high of the past 3 days at the same time. Keeping an eye on Gollum. Gollum is trying to bounce. Look at the pattern. Breakout, upper wick of profit taking, 3 days of consolidation, bulls buying the lower wick, breakout. 3 days of consolidation, bulls buying the lower wick, low bear volume. Let's see if the bulls start to show up. Personally, I'm already in a position in Gollum. I moved my profits from Ethereum and Bitcoin, moved some over, I think about 15% of those profits. And I am looking for a longer term potential play if we get added to Coinbase. And I do believe that this is a decent entry opportunity. I am in right now at about a 19 average, so comfortable with where I am at, and watching for a bullish reversal candlestick to form today. And then we need some confirmation. We need to break the lower high pattern on the daily the past 4 days and see the bulls show up with the green day to confirm that the reversal is in. Keep in mind that these low cap names, these altcoins, in my opinion, we're seeing traders just bounce around. They're running into a name, they're hitting new all-time highs, they're taking their profit, and then they're jumping into another name. So after this Gollum bull break, we saw Strat bull break, and now maybe we'll see some money leave Strat and come back into some of these other names. Money is shifting around. There are traders all over this space raking it in, and they are going where the volume and the momentum is. So let's now go to a trade opportunity, or a trade review, I should say, on the 5-minute time frame for Ethereum. Last night, I was playing the run-up, and I made an initial entry. Let's start with my 208 entry. So I made an entry at 208 because there was a big wall of resistance at that level, and we broke it right here on this candlestick. Look at the volume that was required to make that bull break of 208. And then that was off to the races. That's where the volume and momentum came in. So we had our low, high at 206, higher low, breaking 208, and the bull momentum showed up significantly. I rode it most of the night. I exited at, initially I had an exit right here. So what we had here was a fake wall. And if you saw the live webinar, these pieces are starting to come together where I'm talking about things that you see on GDAX and applying it to your trading strategy. So I had 208 entry. I exited at 218.85. They were really nice short-term gains. Wanted to lock it in. There was a big wall of 1,000 plus ETH on 219. The bulls were running out of momentum. I did not think they could break that. Look at the little pullback. This is other people seeing that same thing that I'm seeing, and they're taking their profit. After we took our profit, a lot of people in the chat room at the same level, the wall moved itself. It was a fake wall. So we instantly bought back in. I bought back in a little bit later. We had some people get in at 219. I got back in at 220. So I left about $1.15 on the table, but this is where trading benefits you because I got this move to the upside. I exited out at 222 and 223s, and then on this pullback candlestick, I was able to exit and instantly put in a bid at 215.05. And why I chose 215.05 is because once I had exited, I was just sitting there watching, and I watched the time in the sales, and that's the sidebar on your right. And I started seeing flashes of big sells coming through, and they flashed in the 215s. So I said, okay, we just took out all bid support to 215s. I'm going to start initiating my position here. And I put in my order at 215.05. I was filled, and then literally less than a couple minutes later, I'm going to say it was about 30, 40 seconds later, I sold the 215 at 221. So I made a $6 gain in less than 1 minute because of the lack of the bid and the ask tight range. We took out all the bids. There was nothing on the ask until 221. I just flipped it instantly, put it right there, and locked in that $6. So while I did give up $1.15 to the upside by selling too early and having to re-enter, I made it all back with a $6 gain because of that quick dump and being able to capitalize on that. And again, the same thing that I just capitalized on the dump here, where I exited my position and then was able to capitalize on an oversold bounce. And again, this RSI indicator, last night I said in the chat room that we need a moment of silence for whoever invented this indicator because it is an absolute ATM machine the past month. This thing has been so reliable. I will buy an RSI dip under 30, around 20 every single time until it does not work anymore. And it has been working literally dozens and dozens and dozens of times over the past 5 weeks, and that has not changed. I do believe that we are going to see some more prolonged consolidation here on Ethereum, but we don't know yet because we're forming our equilibrium pattern. We have our all-time high where we're seeing resistance. And that's not working, my hotkey, so we'll go with the all-time high. We have our low of the pullback. We have our lower high where we just topped out, and now the bulls are trying to form a higher low. If we break 215, we will then have a lower high and a lower low, and that will be an initiation of a shift in momentum, in my opinion. So we are still in an equilibrium pattern. The bulls are still holding on until we do see that break. So that's what we've got going on. I love being cash and just waiting for these 5-minute oversold opportunities. Thanks again. We'll check back in soon.